Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina azaban nar. Rabbana la tu'akhizna in nasina aw akhtana. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إسرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله Rabbil Alameen. Ameen. Welcome, dear friends. We will continue with the 15th ray from the book The Rays. We are on page 619. This was a journey coming from discussing the section Fatiha, where the author shared his understanding of how powerful each phrase is, and then the tashahhud, which recalled to him the individual ascension that one can do in the prayers by recognizing their reality, who they are, that they are made, they're created beings, they are made by one who knows. However, the life of the individual is going right now is all within the knowledge of the one who gives the person their existence. So the last we did discuss a little bit about the specified appointed hour of death and the fixed regular sustenance, how that is also within the knowledge, absolute knowledge. So many of these different evidences are pointing out to many of the qualities which we may not really wonder about really actively, but then this author is kind of reminding us how whatever we look at, whatever the qualities we see in the universe, in ourselves, however, the act that is going on in the universe shows all those qualities, which we can see that everything that is coming into existence is coming out of someone with absolute knowledge. So divine knowledge is all present. So in this 9th and 10th evidences is on the phrase and the regular excellence and careful adornment. So regular excellence and careful adornment. So careful is an interesting word here. Careful adornment, like some deliberate, very careful, like an artist draws something. He carefully maybe draws a few lines, giving it to highlight something extra special, gives it a deeper, denser color maybe, or a lighter color somewhere else. Everything is custom adjusted according to what the point of the artist would be. So in the same way, very carefully crafted, designed, adorned. Everything is in that way. So we'll continue with the paragraph, how he explains the regular excellence and careful adornment. Of course, he's going to touch upon how the universe, we can see the manifestations. So all the beautiful creatures. Now, this is an interesting way, the beautiful creatures. So everything in the view of how this author presents in terms of seeing the reality of the universe, everything is indeed beautiful, which display the manifestations of an eternal beauty and loveliness. especially in the spring on the face of the earth. For instance, the flowers, fruits, yeah, flowers, fruits, small birds, and flies. So here I am right now. We're in the heart of summer, and I do see all of these things, especially a lot of different insects I've never seen before, even many birds I've never seen before. So flowers, fruits, small birds, flies, all sorts of different creatures, plants, and especially the gilded, sparkling flying insects. In their creation, forms and members are such a miraculous skill and precision in their existence, in their creation, the way they're shaped and formed, how they were designed with the different little details that are given to them, shows a miraculous skill and precision. Such a wonderful art, mastery and excellence. Wonderful art, mastery. Someone who knows what to do, mastery and excellence, and all sorts of shapes and tiny machines, which show their craftsmen's wondrous proficiency, that they point decisively to a truly comprehensive knowledge. So the art, the work points to a truly comprehensive knowledge. And let there be no mistake in the expression. An extremely skillful, scientific, innate knowledge. I don't know. So an extremely skillful, scientific, innate knowledge. So innate knowledge is an interesting expression as well. So basically attached to the whoever knows, knowledge belongs to him. All sort of knowledge is within that being. And testify that it is impossible that aimless chance and unconscious confused causes could interfere. So nothing can have any share or say in how they are made, they're designed, and come into being, into their existence. While the phrase and careful decoration means that those fine artifacts are adorned in a way so agreeable, are decorated in a way so sweet, display a beauty and art so attractive that their maker could create these works only through an infinite knowledge. He knows the best manner of everything and wishes to display to conscious beings the beauty of exquisite craftsmanship and the perfection of its beauty. For he creates and decorates the most insignificant flower and tiniest fly with the greatest care, skill, and art, giving them the greatest importance. This attentive adorning and beautifying self-evidently point to a boundless and all-encompassing knowledge and testify to the number of those beauties, to the necessary existence of an all-knowing and beauteous maker. This was the ninth and 10th evidence on regular excellence and careful adornment of each and everything in the universe. And he used the words careful adornment, craftsmanship, skillful, innate knowledge, shows that everything is coming from someone who knows the minute details. That's how each point, each being, each creation, each art points to that, the skill of that, or the knowledge of what kind of being, of absolute divine knowledge. It gives that understanding. Any comment on this, or anything attracted anyone's attention before we? Brother Ali, please go ahead.
After reading this section, I felt that I should love the insects, really carefully investigate them, look at them. They are really beautiful. They are designed in a wonderful way, exquisite way. But unfortunately, that is the culture, I think, or I am under the influence of the culture. We don't like them, practically speaking. Not human nature doesn't like it, but this is the culture. Insects are something assumed as if they are our enemies. So we don't want them in our houses. We manufacture many chemical poisons to kill them. But after reading this text, or really they are the best example of the Creator's absolute knowledge and intention to make them beautiful, so that, as the text said here, was what I said. They all show that the Creator wishes to display to conscious beings, human beings, at least, to display to human beings the beauty of exquisite craftsmanship and the perfection of its beauty. Wow, I felt guilty now. Insects, or the ants, other creatures that we don't like, but they are just presented to us as evidence to understand that the Creator knows what He is making, and making them beautiful to attract our attention, so that we will know that even the smallest, tiniest creature is perfectly designed and perfectly decorated and created for us to understand that the Creator of the whole universe, as if He pays attention to create the universe in a perfect way, but ignores the minute matters. No, even the minute creatures are perfectly, deliberately created in the best, beautiful way. That is an evidence for us to understand that the Creator must be the absolute being. Inshallah. Inshallah, we will remember this.
Inshallah, especially right now. So I was at a person's place yesterday. He had I went to the backyard. He said, wait, he pressed a button, and then he said, let me kill all those insects out there in the backyard. before you go there. Otherwise, they will bite you. So that reminded me when you said about the chemicals and all that. And I saw, like, when I went there, like all sorts of different amazing insects. I've never seen many of them because I live mostly in the city. So, but in here, where I am, it was just an amazing sight. So, inshallah, I hope we are those conscious beings who are paying attention to the exquisite craftsmanship and perfection of the beautiful art that is constantly being displayed to us. Inshallah. The 11th evidence, which comprises 5 universal evidences and proofs. The utterly perfect order, balance, and total distinction with absolute ease. Absolute ease. And the creation of things in unlimited abundance with absolute skill and speed, with absolute balance to an unrestricted extent, with perfect beauty and art, over infinite distances with complete congruence, with unlimited intermingling, yet with complete distinction. So this comprises 5 universal evidences, and he points out the order, balance, distinction, ease, and abundance, which all happen with skill and speed and balance and harmony, congruence, intermingling yet with distinction, total distinction. This evidence is another and better form of the similar lines at the end of the Arabic piece above. So he says this is a little more detailed, better form of the one before. But because of my severe illness, it explains the 5 or 6 evidences it comprises in the form of a very brief indication only. Firstly, throughout the earth, we see the making of wondrous living machines, some instantaneously and some in a minute or some in a minute or two. Some instantaneously and some in a minute or two, in orderly and measured fashion. Measured fashion, each different from its fellows, with the greatest ease, arising from a thorough knowledge and skill, all of which point to an infinite knowledge and testify that the perfection of knowledge is proportionate to the ease resulting from the skill and knowledge in the art. So all these universal evidences are apparent in each and everything on the earth. Everything is like a living machine, functioning with so many different things, what they're doing, what their purpose is, although we may think they have no purpose, or they're just there to bug us or bother us, or so we have to buy chemicals to get rid of them, but they're all wonderful living machines telling us something. Hopefully we listen or see that. And they're coming in orderly, measured fashion. Never wonder at that as well. I feel ashamed sometimes. Each different from its fellows with the greatest ease. Wow. You just think they happen to be like that. Arising from thorough knowledge and skill, all of which point to an infinite knowledge. perfection of knowledge, proportion to the ease resulting from the skill and knowledge in the art. That's the first one. Second, perfect creations of the greatest art within the greatest profusion and multitude point to a boundless knowledge. So based on how the propulsion, how the multitude all over the place on the earth spread out in a many multiple fashion shows how the knowledge is boundless with an infinite power and testify to their number to one who is absolutely knowing and powerful. Thirdly, creations which are of the finest balance and measure, despite being made with absolute speed, point to a boundless knowledge and testify to their number to one absolutely knowing and absolutely powerful. Fourthly, the making of innumerable animate beings on the broad face of the earth, with the greatest craft, adornment, and beauty of art, despite their wide extent, points to an all-encompassing knowledge, which confuses nothing, confusing nothing, sees all things together, and for which nothing is an obstacle to anything else. It testifies to that singly and altogether they are the artifacts of one, knowing of all things, and absolutely powerful one. So there's a theme of concluding whatever those qualities are pointing to one who is absolutely knowing and powerful one. Brother Ali, go ahead, please.
And if anybody knows how the viruses are created so fast, instantly, and they change, what a wonderful, wonderful creation. Somebody told me, I don't know this kind of things at all. When I wake up in the morning, when I brush my teeth, they told me that I have been killing millions of creatures there in one night. I don't know how they are called and how they are created under the microscopes. Is right, the pronunciation, microscope, I think it is. How they look like, their design, specially created with special talent. Oh, we are not aware of this world. We only see the trees and birds, animals, maybe stars, but under the earth, in the living bodies, all sorts of living creatures are created, perfectly designed with special purposes, and they do all wonderful work. And they are, as the text keeps saying, that absolutely knowing and powerful ones acts. Does any of us know anything about these example, these creatures? I wonder, and I would like to hear viruses, for example, how they act, how they appear to in existence, etc. If they tell me, I would like to hear them, inshallah.
Yeah, I'm not an expert. I mean, they also say bacteria on the teeth, especially the tongue. There's some living organisms, bacteria that has to be destroyed. So he'll go ahead.
Assalamualaikum. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like an expert on um, um, viruses, but there are just the human body has, you know, trillions probably of human bacteria that, you know, work in symbiosis with the human body, and that actually a human being would get sick. Interestingly enough, some are good and some are bad for a healthy life. But they're so sort of minuscule, it's sort of even hard to fathom their size. And even a virus is even smaller than that, than a bacteria. And sort of each different type of bacteria, let's say, just say even like in the human stomach, is important for proper digestion and healthy utilization of food. And without that, you know, people actually get sick, and it's linked to certain diseases or autoimmune conditions. So everything's sort of in perfect balance. But yet, you know, you could also have bacteria that are not beneficial too, as well. Just like in the mouth, there can be innumerable bacteria that can cause sort of tooth breakdown, cavities, and millions that are there that people don't realize, or even just breathing in every breath, you know, how much bacteria people ingest or breathe in. But I mean, people dedicate their careers to this sort of specific science, virology, or study of bacteria, or what they call human microbiome, because they're microscopic. But there's a whole like biome, because there's a whole sort of community of bacteria that live in the human body, specific to human beings, which is interesting. So that, you know, we're not generally aware of in our life.
Yeah, thank you, Sohail. So we brush our teeth every day, maybe multiple times. We breathe, we eat. We never wonder at the bacteria, how they're there, what they're doing. Like they said, they are good and bad. What makes them good? What makes them bad? We never question those things. Yeah, I mean, we just live with the general understanding. Oh yeah, gotta brush because we have to. There's bad bacteria. That's it. And I guess everybody is comfortable with that understanding and never wonders at it. All right. Any other comment? All right. We'll go to the fifthly. The coming into being of the members of a species which are far from each other, with one in the east, one in the west, one in the north, and one in the south, in the same way, both resembling each other and differing, could occur only through the infinite power of one absolutely knowing and absolutely powerful, who governs the whole universe, and through his infinite knowledge, which encompasses all beings, together with all their states, thus pointing to an all-encompassing knowledge and testifies to one all-knowing of the unseen. So the distinction from each other, all from all sorts of different places, coming together, but still keeping their distinction, shows the whoever is organizing them, profusing them in that way, points to his knowledge and power. Sixthly, the creation of a great multitude of living machines in confusing circumstances and dark places. For example, seeds under the ground, without confusion, despite their similarity and all being mixed up together in miraculous fashion, without neglecting any single one of any sort, together with all their distinguishing features, points as clearly as the sun to pre-eternal knowledge and testifies as brilliantly as daylight to the creativity and dominicality of one absolutely powerful and absolutely knowing. For the details, we refer you to the risale-i, and here cut a long story short. All right, so now I think it's going to go to a different aspect. Now we begin the question of will, which is in Hulasatul Hulasa, the summary of the supreme sign. Okay. Okay, so all the signs, I think we studied the supreme sign section as well, which points to all the different things going on in the universe that point to an absolute one. So now he's going to focus question of will. This piece consists of one long universal proof of divine will, which comprises many of the proofs of will. In a short translation of it, we set out evidence proving decisively divine will and choice and volition. So all together with knowledge, there is a will operating and choice and volition, divine will, choice, and which is volition. All the above evidences for divine knowledge are also evidences for will. For the manifestations and works of knowledge and will are apparent together in all creatures. Kun fayakun, be and it is. Will, knowledge, choice, volition. The meaning of the above Arabic piece in brief. Everything exists through his will and volition. Okay, before I go there, Brother Ali, please go ahead.
I think we need to pay attention to the fact that the author gave many, many different examples demonstrating that the creator must have an absolute knowledge and absolute power. But suddenly the subject changed to the wheel, the metro wheel. I wonder why this sudden change is here taking place. Why the author changed the subject to the wheel, and specifically he is going to talk about the wheel. I understood that, or I said, okay, I have to pay attention. If someone has the power and knowledge, but doesn't have will, this power and knowledge cannot be of any use. I am powerful, I know, but I don't have the knowledge. I cannot practice my power and knowledge. So it is appropriately, I think, going to be studied here. And we have to see the correlation between knowledge, power, and will, so that the creator will practice his will and his knowledge, so his power and his knowledge, through his absolute infinite will. That is how we can explain the difference between trillions of different kinds of creatures. Because of his power and knowledge accompanied with his absolute free will, so that he chooses this way, another way, another way, another way, and he doesn't have to do like a manufacturing, human manufacturing things, that they have one pattern and only one pattern produces the same things. But in the universe, what we see to the number of the creatures, every creature has its own unique pattern. That shows that his free will must be infinite, limitless. That is why I think we have to bear in mind why the subject changed to will.
Thank you, Brother Ali, for pointing that out. So just keep that in mind. So knowledge by alone does not work. Power alone does not work. All have to work together. Knowledge, power, and will. The will. With will, it gets manifested into the created realm, so we experience it. So everything exists through his will and volition. What he wills occurs. What he does not will does not occur. If he did not will it, nothing would occur. A proof is this. We see that among infinite, confused possibilities and various fruitless ways, amid intervening and mutually opposing elements, which flow like floods, causing chaos, in the midst of numerous others resembling themselves, which is the cause of disorder. Every creature with its own specific essence, particular attributes, individual character, and distinctive form, is taken within a precise, perfect, regular order. All its members and organs are weighed up with a sensitive, exact measure and balance and attached to it. Its mutually opposing members are created, living, and with extreme art from simple, lifeless matter. Mutually opposing members are created living. and with extreme art from simple, lifeless matter. For example, a human being is created with 100 different organs from a droplet of fluid. And a bird is made with numerous different members and organs from a simple egg and clothed in a miraculous form. Yeah, think about that. Fluid and then all the organs of the human being or from that tiny little egg with all those wings and feathers clothed in a miraculous form. And a tree is drawn out of a tiny seed comprising simple, lifeless carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, and oxygen, together with its branches and twigs, and various members and parts, and dressed in an orderly, fruitful form. This self-evidently, indubitably, decisively, and necessarily proves that all those creatures, together with all their parts and particles, form and nature, are given their particular perfect states through the will, choice, volition, and intention of one possessing absolute power. Intention, will, choice, volition, and intention of one possessing absolute power. It proves too that everything is governed by an all-embracing will. These simple creatures pointing in this indubitable way to divine will shows that all creatures offer testimony to their number with a certainty as clear as the sun at noon, the divine will encompassing all things, and that they comprise numberless proofs of the necessary existence of an all-powerful possessor of will. So a few examples are given in terms of how we can see that the creation of everything, including the, for example, the tree or the coming from a little small seed, the birds, or yeah, coming from a little simple egg, white shelled egg, or whatever colored, light colored egg, dark colored, whatever. And the fluids, and then a human being is just created out of that. Completely different things. Nothing short of a miracle. All right, please, any comments? Go ahead. Brother Ali, go ahead.
Now, in the time when the author wrote this book, DNA and how it functions and what its reality was, did not known, I think, generally, especially among the people who are not specialized in the area, in this field. So he doesn't use the DNA example. But we have to understand that whatever the people talk about DNA and it doesn't mean that the seeds under the soil, they may say, of course, they cannot confuse because each of them has its own DNA structure. That is correct. That is, but doesn't matter because each DNA structure of each being is designed again by a one who knows and he has free will. It cannot compose or it cannot be constructed by accident because perfectly arranged, everything is perfectly working and different from each other, although they are formed under the same conditions, under the same climate conditions and physical conditions. Each of them are differently designed, although the physical factors were the same. That is, I think we have to update these examples, but essentially the same idea. Who is making the distinction between hundreds or thousands of different creatures developing and being created within the same physical environment, but completely different nature, each of them. They are not similar to one another. One of them is a bird, the other one is a worm, the other one is grass, the other one is a tree, the other one is another different kinds of insects, and each insects are having their own specific life, living conditions, but under the same physical conditions. So we understand that the DNA are designed by a conscious being according to his will and according to his knowledge with his power. So we cannot deny the fact that the DNA are out there, but we deny the interpretation of the materialist people saying that these developed by themselves as a result of accidents by chance, as a result of action of the matter, which has no quality whatsoever. This interpretation must be rejected. Otherwise, the same description as we read here in this text goes exactly in the same way to the creation of DNAs. Just the examples need to be updated, but the idea will remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ali. HP, so go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. As I was listening and as we were reading the text, I experienced like a power outage for a couple minutes here. And it struck me how, when I experience existence and like the bugs and the flowers and the trees, as discussed in the text, there's never an instance where something acts out of order, where, just in one instance, for example, I don't know, you get an orange from an apple seed, or where something acts out of the order. And I'm 100% sure that everyone in the area willed there to be electricity, but then for those couple of minutes it was not there. So the will was there, but then the power, and perhaps even the knowledge for a split second, of trying to figure out what's going on, was not present. Um, so I guess when I experience existence, or when I experience the universe, right? I, despite like experiencing things at every single moment, beginning with myself, my own breathing, the outer world, my own feelings, thoughts. There's it's everything is seamless. Nothing ever goes out of order. And when it comes to like DNA, the DNA always functions perfectly within that order itself, as well. And I guess against the argument of like things being chaotic or disorderly, I think it's usually from the human perspective, where if I don't understand the order, then to me, from my perspective, I say, oh, that's disorderly. But from a very limited, unknowing perspective. But then once I figure it out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is why I was acting in this way. And so even I guess what I'm trying to say is, what I might perceive as disorder, or when I cannot predict something like the forecast, I can make a best guess, but I can't guarantee it. Right, that falls within a realm of knowledge that I don't have access to, or that I haven't yet discovered. Whereas even that looks to this absolute sense of orderliness that is being carried out in absolute perfection at all times, without any break, in a very consistent manner, which must necessarily and can only come from an absolute source. Otherwise, I would be, quote unquote, experiencing power outages in the way I experience things. Things would start. I can't even imagine what that would look like, because my experience of existence has always been with utmost perfection and its orderliness, and therefore also manifestation of will.
Thank you for sharing that. So even when there is no power, for example, that's part of knowledge, will, power as well. But yeah, you're right. We don't really perceive that at that. Although we may think, oh, there's no power, so there's knowledge, but maybe there's no power, quality of power. But that is there is not willing, or willing is our perspective, but from his perspective, it's a completely different realm. Absolute will, absolute knowledge, absolute power. And our perception, however we see it, of course, we are learning as we go through in this life. Yep, thank you for sharing that. All right, any other comment? We will continue. All the evidences for divine knowledge mentioned above are also evidences for divine will, since both function together with power. One cannot be without the other. Just as all the correspondence and conformities between the members of species and sorts of beings indicate that their maker is one and the same. So their features, being distinctive and different, from each other in wise and purposive fashion indicates definitely that their single maker of unity acts with will and choice. He creates everything with will, choice, volition, and intention. So my perspective would be to see and observe the universe to see that it is must have been created with will, choice, volition, and intention. This marks the end of my explanations of the Arabic piece's meaning, which sets forth one universal proof of divine will. I had intended to write many more important points as for the question of divine knowledge, but my brain was exhausted due to the illness I was suffering as a result of being poisoned, so it was postponed to another time. All right. This is the Arabic piece about divine power. Maybe we can go through it. How long is this one? Okay. God is most great through his power and will, greater than all things. For he is powerful over all things with absolute, all-encompassing power, necessary and intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence. Intrinsic to his most pure and holy essence. It is impossible that the opposite of his power should intervene in it, for it has no degrees. Equal before it are particles and stars, particulars and universals, the part and the whole, the seed and the tree, the world and man, so they are all equal. Man and particle, the world, small and large, everything is equal. Through the mystery of the observable, utterly perfect order, balance, distinction, and precision, together with the ease in the absolute abundance, speed, and intermingling, and through the mysteries of luminosity, transparency, reciprocity, balance, order, and obedience, and through the mysteries of the assistance of unity, facility of unity, and the manifestation of oneness, and through the mysteries of necessity, total detachment, and complete otherness of essence. Total detachment and complete otherness of essence, and through the mysteries of unrestrictedness. Unrestrictedness, not being bound by space, and indivisibility, not being bound by space and indivisibility, and through the mysteries of the transformation of obstacles and obstructions into means of facility, and through the mystery of the intuition that the particular, the part, the seed, and man are not inferior as regards to the art and eloquence to the star and that of the creator of the universal, the whole, the tree, and the world. is the creator of the former. And through the mystery of the surroundings and wholes, inevitably being in the grasp of the creator of the things which are surrounded, and the parts, like the miniature inscribed beings similar to them, or milked extracted droplets, for they are, and their likes are included in the former with the balance of his knowledge, or are milked from them in accordance with the principles of his wisdom. And through the mystery of a Quran of dignity inscribed with particles of ether on an atom or minutest particle, not being of less eloquence or wondrous art than a Quran of grandeur, written with the ink of the stars and suns on the page of the heavens. Similarly, through their relation to the power of the universe's creator, the blooming rose, not being of less eloquence and art than the star Venus, nor the ant being inferior to the elephant, nor the microbe inferior to the rhinoceros, nor is the bee inferior to the date palm. Moreover, the extreme ease and speed in the creation of things causes the people of misguidance to confuse formation with self-formation. The extreme ease and speed in the creation of things confuses formation with self-formation, which necessitates innumerable impossibilities and is a delusion. While it proves to the people of guidance that in relation to the power of the universe's creator, particles and the stars are equal. May his glory be exalted, for there is no God but he. God is most great. Allahu Akbar. All right. So I think he will discuss further, but we are at time. So before giving a translation of this Arabic piece from the point of view of the truly vast question of divine power and a brief meaning of it, I shall disclose a truth which was imparted to me. And it was like this, but I think we can stop here for today unless anybody wants to comment. Go ahead, Brother Ali.
As you were reading, some points attracted my attention. The first of which is the qualities of the creator has no degrees. That is one. And the other one is the nature of the creator is described here as complete otherness of essence. His essence is, I understood that his oneness, his uniqueness, can only be described as complete otherness of essence. What we describe this in our discussions as not of the nature of the universe. Did I understand this correctly? I doubt a little bit about my understanding. But this complete otherness of essence, it means what I understood, his essence is not of the nature of the universe, other than the created or other than anything exists in our observation.
That makes sense to me, yes.
Yeah. Indivisibility is also another way of explaining that his qualities has no degrees. So they are not divisible, divisible, or divided, cannot be divided. Is it correct? Understanding? Indivisibility cannot be divided. Power cannot be divided. Absolute cannot be divided. That's how I understand.
So they're always manifested absolute in an absolute sense.
Yeah.
No
Oh.
degree. But
Yeah.
to me, I may perceive it like as if something is more higher than or lower. But from the absolute perspective is the same. Is that correct?
That's how I understood. The third point attracted my attention again. The creation is taking place in such a way that the people of misguidance confuse formation with self-formation. Now, this is the main point that we have to bear in mind. There is formation in the universe. There is an order in the creation of the universe, in the creation of everything of the universe. But the problem is interpreting this formation as self-formation. The things are forming themselves. This is the problem. There is no problem in the order of the universe. The things are really created in a gradual way and gradually developing way, but interpreting it as if they are happening by themselves. This is the problem I think we have to pay attention to. So the conclusion, it says, the creator of the universe, for the creator or for the power, knowledge of the creator of the universe, particles and the stars are equal. If it is indivisible, if it is his qualities are indivisible, and his qualities have no degrees, then of course particles and the stars must be equal for his power and knowledge and will. That is in terms of the conditions of this universe a bit difficult to comprehend, because our minds are used to thinking in terms of the conditions of how this universe is working, as if it is working by itself. It is forming itself in a different ways in the course of time, gradually. It is difficult for us, if not impossible, for me, for my understanding, it is impossible to comprehend absolute, infinite. It is impossible. But we understand that the qualities of the creator of everything in the universe must be infinite, absolute. All the examples the author listed here, starting from the words of insects, how they are designed, and the things are created with the same material, with no confusion, with an absolute speed, no difficulties at all, but completely distinct from each other. And these all happen at the same time. That shows that the source must have absolute qualities. That is logical conclusion, but we cannot comprehend the essence, the nature of absolute. We should be careful not being able to comprehend the essence of something doesn't mean that we cannot confirm, we cannot believe in its existence. If we are clear about this point, then really believe in the existence of God, the creator of the universe, is very easy. But we have to be careful about these small details that the text is the text presented to us. It is a beautiful text. I don't mind reading all the things we read today again, because there is no need to explain, but there is a great need to reflect on them. It is clear, it is clearly stated, but we need to reflect on them slowly, digest it, think about it, and think about the examples which came into our experiences in this world. Otherwise, everything is so clear, and my conclusion is belief in God is not difficult at all, if only we have a clear and free mind. Inshallah. Inshallah, we will be fully satisfied in our belief in our Creator. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you, Brother Ali. All right. I think. Any other comment before I close? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka anta alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi hurmati suratul Fatiha. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.